Ouch. This is not what you want to see when you log into your PayPal account. And this is happening to a lot of people. They're losing their PayPal account and PayPal won't tell them why. Can't even get them on the phone. No way to rectify the situation. And a lot of my people that I've worked with, um, they have told me, gee, you can't use PayPal anymore. Don't know what's going on. I've heard this over and over and over. And you can search online for this, that they'll shut down your account and they hold the money for 6 months and they will give it back to you. But if you have recurring billing, all that's gone. You have to start all over from scratch, which really can be a huge business disruptor. And they did it to people right during the pandemic. So this whole concept that PayPal is there to help you and help small business, I don't think so. They're there to help themselves, and they cut people off during the pandemic. They also made it so that you had to pay for refunds. So when you refunded the customer, that you had to pay, the merchant had to pay the fees, which is extremely greedy. So they're not really on your side, but it's a really good service, and it's the most popular service. But when it comes to recurring billing, I would never use them, because this can happen to you at any moment and you can lose all your recurring billing. And they're simply not trustworthy payment system for recurring billing, because you can think that you're following all their guidelines and doing everything you can. And since they won't communicate with you about it if there was an issue, that it's just a crapshoot and you should be cut off at any second. So what to do? So there are some good alternatives, and I wanted to point you to another alternative called CC Bill. Okay, CC Bill has been around over 20 years, and actually close to that amount of time, I had an account with CC Bill, and they sent me checks for years and years and years. Eventually that business model died down, but they still sent me checks for recurring billing for years on end. So I was always impressed at the reliability of this system, because what they had done in the 90s, they had been one of the main billing systems for the adult business. And actually, at the beginning of the internet, that adult business is what created the infrastructure for a lot of the internet, because that's what was the highest traffic, with the highest traffic services. So everything was tested on that: web hosting, billing, bandwidth, et cetera, et cetera. And so a lot developed from that. But now they're into the mainstream business, okay? And they offer excellent support for recurring billing. And I'm going to show you some advantages of this service. Now, to use this service, you actually have to have your own website and your own product or service that you're selling, all right? It can be both digital, and now they have opened it up for actual tangible products for recurring billing. It's really a system for recurring billing. So it might not be the one service you rely on for everything. So it's different from PayPal on that. It has a little bit less flexibility in that sense. But if you're looking for something for recurring billing, I consider them to be much, much more reliable. And here are some advantages of this service. First of all, you have to be approved to get the service. They're going to look at your website, and then they're going to approve whether they want to do business with you. And you may think that's a hassle, but that's a better way of doing it, because once they approve you, you're kind of in. They've already looked at your business model, and you're not going to have the surprises at the back end. So I have a lot more confidence in them keeping my recurring billing going than I do somebody like PayPal, who will turn me off in a whim, and you'll never know why. Now, this is, speaking of that, here's one thing they say: no instant shut off with active risk management. That means these guys are experts in managing risk. They've been doing it for 20 plus years. Now, you're going to pay a little bit more fees with this, but you're going to get 24/7 customer service, 24/7 fraud management. They will handle any issues with chargebacks. Your customers can call them up and cancel, get a refund, can call them up, change their credit card number, and keep that subscription going if they want to. But they're going to work with you. They're looking at the billing. They're looking at the trends. If there's an issue, they're going to work with that. There alone is worth anything really they charge in fees. Because if you lose all your recurring billing, or even if you just earn one customer paying you $40 a month for a year, that's $480. How do you factor that into the fee structure? So For recurring billing, you need people who can keep the subscription going as long as the customer wants it to go, and someone who can manage the fraud, manage the recurring billing. If people want to update their credit card, there's also a way of automatically updating the expiration date. They have it down. So with someone like PayPal, well, you might eventually lose a customer. You might not lose with CC Bill because of customer support, because of expiring credit cards, etc., etc. They're also really great for international billing because they process in 197 countries, and there's a lot of local billing options that they have integrated into their system. So those are additional sales that you can get. Now, I made some points about the pros and cons of this service, and I got to say the number one thing is reliability. They literally, I've dealt with them for 20 years, about 20 years. That's how long they've been doing this. So they've been around that long, and they don't have a reputation for just shutting people down willy-nilly. They might shut people down if it's really abusive. Keep in mind that they deal with high-risk accounts as well. They can deal with that. If you have a high-risk business, whatever that is, you can approach them and say, hey, this is my business model. How can we work together? And they can work it out for you potentially. So you have some flexibility there, which is just the biggest thing in the world for recurring billing. You can't have a service that just on a whim is going to cut you off. And the services that will cut you off are the services that don't really require you to have your site looked at first. It's a good thing if they look at your site first and decide whether they want to do business with you. I'd rather know in advance rather than afterwards, after building up a whole series of recurring billing customers. Oh no, boom, you're gone. You don't fit our model. Now, PayPal and Stripe, even though they're super convenient services to use, well, with that convenience comes a downside, is that both, if somehow your chargebacks go up a certain level, or they're very skittish. Anything goes wrong at all, boom, they'll knock you off and you're done, right? Someone who has looked at your model and decided, yeah, we can do business, is more likely to work with you. And the same thing goes, say, if you get your own merchant account with authorize.net, they'll work with you a lot more than a Stripe or a PayPal, who will make it real easy for you to sign up, but will make it really easy for them to knock you off too. So it's something to consider, because recurring billing is a long-term play. You want this to go on forever, as long as possible, as long as the customer wants. But you don't want to lose recurring billing because of billing issues on the billing provider's side. So another reason, number two, is they're recurring billing experts. Your customers can get their cards updated. They update expiration dates automatically. They'll do everything to make sure that recurring billing keeps going. And along with that is 24/7 phone and customer service. Your customers can actually call them and talk to them. And if there's an issue, say, hey, what was this charge? And they can say what it is, and they'll send you an email, or you have to deal with a customer. That is really, really good, because that avoids chargebacks. Because one of the reasons people get chargebacks is they just don't recognize it. All right, and the next is fraud, and they're experts at dealing with fraud. And like I said, you have to get approved with it, which is a good thing. Okay, and they accept many different types of business models, so you're going to have a lot more flexibilities. They handle the chargebacks. They deal with the fraud. They're experts in dealing with fraud. That can be a real pain if you're dealing with yourself. I mean, I've done it myself. I've looked, where does this IP come from? Does this IP match their address? And sometimes you just look at people using stolen credit cards, and that will go. Then you're charged fees as a merchant, and then you can even lose your merchant account to no fault of your own, because a bunch of scam artists came and ordered whatever you're selling with stolen credit cards. Eventually you get kind of good at it, but that's a whole job in itself, and that's a job that they handle. They're experts at it. Again, like I said, they take many type of local payments, including online checks. Now, the fees are going to be higher, but worth it. Like for the average mainstream business, which is not a super high risk business, there's a 3.9% charge, which is more than PayPal and Stripe, and 55 cents per transaction. But if you keep just one customer or two customers or three customers or 10 customers, um, because the fee's a little bit higher, you make it up big time. And if PayPal or Stripe or one of these other services completely cuts you off, you lose everything. The fees don't even matter anymore. So it's not just the lowest fees, it's the service, especially when coming to recurring billing. You know, um, you want people who can keep it going and who are experts in that. And also, this integrates with many shopping carts. I use a Member Pro, excellent shopping cart, and this integrates perfectly. They have a plugin for it. Now, there's some cons to this. There's a limit to how much you can charge per month. Like, I just talked to them actually. It's from, there are limits now are from like $1 to $399. You double check that with them. And then if you have that's for recurring billing. So you'd be charging $399 per month. If you want to do more than that, then you would have to talk to them to get special approval, which is fine. That probably fit most people's needs for recurring billing, maybe not everyone's. So that is somewhat of a con. They have a little bit of a limitation there. I don't think it'll affect most people. They're not really set up for one-off payments, but you could do it. I mean, the really advantage is on recurring billing. They could do the one-off stuff, but it's really recurring where they shine, where they offer a lot of value. Again, like I said before, you need to be approved, but to me, in a lot of ways, it's a positive point because you're going to have a better relationship with them once you're approved, and you're not going to be worrying about being cut off because maybe they don't like your business model for some reason all of a sudden. Now, here's something that you don't have with the other services, and it could be considered a negative for you. They have a 5% rolling reserve. And that means they take 5% of what you make and they put it like in a little escrow account, for chargebacks and fees or whatever. And in 6 months, you start getting that back and then it rolls in. So eventually after 6 months, you get a nice flow going. That's okay. Keep in mind, recurring billing is a long-term play. All right. It's not just about making money now. It's about creating an income stream. And that is a reasonable amount to take, considering they handle all the fraud. They handle all the chargebacks, people trying to order with fake credit cards and things like that, which are big time consuming, because I've done a lot of that work, and that can be very annoying and very time consuming. If you have someone who takes that off your table, you can just, your responsibility list, you can go ahead and concentrate more on your business. And that really is worth something. But anyways, you get the money. So that is, not necessarily a negative, but it might be for some people. So if you're looking for a good recurring billing system where you can really hand off most of the responsibility to the company and you can concentrate on your business, I can definitely vouch for them. I've received checks from them, I think, for about 20 years. It was never my number one billing system that I used, but it was always one I had kind of in my tool chest. And I was pretty amazed. I said, wow, these guys have been paying me a long time. And so that is another thing to consider when choosing a billing system. I had pay systems. They came and gone. It was a company out of Montreal. I've had Payza, I've seen eGold. Remember that? I don't know if you remember that. Lost money with a lot of these people. Actually, eGold, they eventually paid. Alert Pay, what happened to them? I guess they turned into Payza. These guys been around, and it's really something to consider when looking for billing. And when you read around online that people are losing their PayPal accounts, you just can't. You have to be kind of crazy just to rely on them. You really would have to be. I mean, I would consider maybe this combined with unauthorized.net, and you could use PayPal for some things, but not as your main thing. You have to keep in mind with these type of accounts that you, for whatever reason, and it's no fault of your own, you could lose it at any time. People change, some companies get bought out, whatever. They have problems with the government, like pay systems and Payza had. What are you going to do? These guys, are pros. So I can vouch for them. It's just another thing to consider if you have a recurring billing model. And, I'm speaking from personal experience. That these guys are pretty good. As a matter of fact, I don't even have an affiliate link when I'm doing this. I think they have a program. I'll sign up for it. Hey, I'll take the money, but I'm not really doing that to make money promoting this. I'm not against making money, but I'm doing it because this has been my real experience, and I want to give good information to my subscribers and followers. So, hey, I wish you all the best. Click the link below to get $597 of free marketing software, and definitely would appreciate you subscribing to my YouTube channel. There's going to be more free software coming out, more paid software coming out, and more reviews like this from real world experience that could maybe save you thousands of dollars and a lot of headaches. Thank you so much. It's Matt with Coolmarketingsoftware.com.